fine. Today we are going to see the fifth chapter, that is Abraham Lincoln. And I am sure that you have heard about Abraham Lincoln, and he was one of the greatest leaders in the American history and even in the world history. He was a great leader who fought against the act of slavery and who abolished the slavery in US. And here in this chapter, we are going to see about the early life of Abraham Lincoln and his contribution to the American society, like abolishment of slavery. He writes a letter to his son's teacher in which he entrusts his son's teacher to make his son a responsible citizen and to make his son a better person. So now we will see about the life of Abraham Lincoln and his contribution to the American society. So you may please take chapter 5, page number 39 in your textbook. There is a small introduction about your chapter is given there. You can just go through that one. And there it is mentioned, Abraham Lincoln, he was a great leader who fought against the heinous act of slavery. What is the meaning of heinous? Heinous means morally bad. So now we will start our chapter discussion. First paragraph. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States of America. He served as President from March 4, 1861 until April 15, 1865, as he was re-elected in 1864. So the duration of his presidency is given there, and he was the 16th President of United States of America. And in the second paragraph, we will get some details, some information about his early life. Abraham Lincoln was born in a log cabin near Hoganville, Kentucky. Log cabin, that means the house made with the woods, a small houses made with the woods, and he was born in a log cabin, Hoganville, Kentucky. That is the place name. He had very little formal schooling and was mostly self-educated. That means he was not having enough opportunities to go to school, and he was self-educated. That means he learned by himself. Then he eventually became a lawyer and a Republican politician. So even though he had little formal education and he was self-educated, then also he became a lawyer because of his hard work and a politician in the Republican Party. And he earned the nickname Honest Abe because of his character. He was a very honest person, a person good in character. And then he married Todd in 1842. They had 4 sons, but only one survived childhood. And the one who survived the childhood, he is Robert. He married Mary Todd and they had 4 children, but except one, all others died. And now we will see about the conditions that were prevailing in the American society in 16th, 17th and 18th centuries. And what was the problems prevailing in the American society? The country was having problems regarding the practice of slavery. That was the major problem that was prevailing in the American society. Problems related to the act of slavery, the practice of slavery. And what was the problem related to the practice of slavery? The white men owned large farms in the southern states. Blacks were brought from Africa to work on these farms. They were kept as slaves. The people of northern states were against this practice of slavery and wanted to abolish it. The Constitution of America is based on the equality of man. Therefore, there was no place for slavery in that country. So that was the problem prevailing in the American society. That is, there is a division, southern and northern group. The southern people, they had large farms, the southern states, and they brought Africans, the blacks from Africa, as slaves to work on their farms. But the northern people, they were against such a kind of practice, the practice of slavery, and they wanted to abolish slavery. But the southern people, they wanted to continue with the slavery. Why? They needed workers to work on their farms. So they were demanding for the practice of slavery. That means the southern people. But on the other hand, northern people, they wanted to abolish. That means they wanted to make an end to the practice of slavery. Why? They demanded that the American Constitution, that is based on equality of man, all men are equal. So there is no place for slavery in American society. That is why the northern people, they wanted to abolish the act of slavery. So I hope that you understood the problem. The problem, it was connected with the practice of slavery. Southern people wanted to continue with the practice of slavery, and the northern people, they wanted to abolish the practice of slavery. And in this context, Abraham Lincoln was elected as the President of America in 1860 November. And what was his stand? He wanted to abolish the act of slavery. He wanted to solve the problem of slavery. During Lincoln's presidency, the southern states, they seceded from the Union because they were against the abolition of slavery. So Lincoln got elected as the President of America, and he also wanted to abolish the practice of slavery. So eventually the southern state, they were supporting the practice of slavery. So they wanted to leave the Union. That means the North-South Union. They wanted to leave from that Union, and they wanted to form a separate country. Seceded means they left the Union. Why? Because all others were against the act or the practice of slavery. But the southern people, they wanted to continue the practice of slavery. On the other hand, Lincoln and the northern states were against slavery. So you can identify opposite views, contradictory views. Southern states, they wanted to continue the practice of slavery, and on the other hand, northern people and the President Abraham Lincoln, they wanted to abolish the practice of slavery. 6 weeks after becoming president, the Civil War began. Civil War means the war which takes place inside the country, between the communities, between two groups in the same country. So the Civil War broke out, and the reason for the Civil War was that there was something connected with the practice of slavery. One group, that is the southern group, they wanted to continue with the slavery, and northern group, they wanted to abolish the practice of slavery. This put the unity of the country in danger. That means the Civil War put the unity of the country in danger. It means the country, it is divided into southern and northern part, and one is standing supporting practice of slavery, and other is against the practice of slavery. The northern states which stayed in the Union for the southern states called the Confederacy. The southern states were prepared to form another country, but Abraham Lincoln wanted two states to be united. So the northern state and the southern states, they started to fight with each other, and the southern states, those who were supporting the practice of slavery, they wanted to form a separate country. But Abraham Lincoln, he wanted to make the country united, and he worked very hard for making the country united. The Civil War lasted from 1861 to 1865. That means during the presidency of Abraham Lincoln. So during his presidency, Abraham Lincoln faced many problems. You may please take page number 40. So during his presidency, Abraham Lincoln faced many problems. He wanted to preserve the unity of the country at any cost. He wanted to keep the unity of the country at any cost. That means already both the states, they started to fight with each other, and the southern states, they wanted to make a separate country. But Abraham Lincoln wanted to preserve the unity of the country at any cost. Finally, a civil war broke out between the northern and the southern states. He fought the war bravely and declared, "A nation cannot exist half free and half slave." The Civil War broke out and Abraham Lincoln fought bravely during the Civil War and declared that a nation cannot exist half free and half slave. That means half of the population, they are slaves, the blacks, and other, the free, the white people, they are enjoying all the freedom. According to him, in such a way, no country can exist. He won the war and kept the country united. And during the Civil War, the northern part, or Abraham Lincoln, he won the war, he won the Civil War and kept the country united. On January 1st, 1863, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Emancipation Proclamation means the Freedom Proclamation, which eventually led to the freeing of all slaves in the USA. So, the Emancipation Proclamation that led to the abolishment of practice of slavery. During the Civil War, Lincoln gave many speeches, including the Gettysburg Address, a short speech in which he stated how a country must be dedicated to human freedom in order to survive. So the Gettysburg Address is given there in your textbook, page number 40. You can just go through that one. Anyway, we are not going to take that in your class and it won't be there for your exams also. But once you are back to school, we will discuss about the Gettysburg Address. And here in the Gettysburg Address, he says that how a country must be dedicated to human freedom in order to survive. Finally, the Civil War came to an end and Abraham Lincoln proclaimed that no slaves in the country. Emancipation Proclamation. Emancipation Proclamation. The Freedom Proclamation. And through that, he freed all the slaves and he abolished the act or the practice of slavery in United States. So we had seen about the Civil War and the end of the Civil War and the abolishment of slavery. Then again, Lincoln was re-elected as the president in 1864 and he was not against any people, any group, but the aim in his life was to keep peace in the country. Everybody should live in peace. He made sincere effort to heal the people's wounds caused by the war. People's wounds, the mental wounds. It means the people, they were divided into two groups, northern and southern group. So the mental wounds were there. So Abraham Lincoln, he wanted to heal such a kind of wounds created through the war. In 1862, Lincoln declared that all will be free, and that made him popular among people. The next paragraph says about the formal ending of the Civil War. General Robert E. Lee from the Confederacy surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant from the Union. Robert E. Lee from the Confederacy means from the southern states. He was surrendered to General Wilkes from northern state on April 9, 1865, effectively ending the Civil War. That was the formal ending of the Civil War. The next paragraph says about the death of Abraham Lincoln. President Lincoln was shot on April 14, 1865 by John Wilkes, Booth, an actor, at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Lincoln had been watching a play there. Lincoln died the next morning. He was the first US president ever assassinated. That means killed by someone. So that is about the life of Abraham Lincoln and his act of abolishment of practice of slavery. So I hope that you understood about that one. The Gettysburg Address, you can read that one and we will see the Gettysburg Address once you are back to school. That is enough for today. In the next class we will discuss about Abraham Lincoln's letter to his son's teacher. Thank you. Have a nice day.